Alright guys, welcome to the final part of my three episode series on how to animate your own view model for Gary's mod. So now we're going to go into compiling and fixing up any issues on the model itself. So first create a new txt document and call this, I don't know, compile, and change the extension to .qc. Save that. Then edit this with Notepad. I'm using Notepad++ because it's nicer. And press Ctrl V. And you won't press Ctrl V. I'm sorry. I'm pressing Ctrl V because this code will usually take you a while to code. So I provided a quick example on the description that you guys can use. And yeah, pretty much. So I'm just going to explain everything here. This here will be the model path for your model and the model's name. So I'm going to call this one C underscore tutorial gun. Do not use spaces, that will cause problems. And do not put models here. Just leave it like this. This here is the name of your swep. So mine is called reference.smd. So I'm going to go here and call this reference.smd. Here on the CD materials, this is the path to your materials folder. Again, you don't need to put the materials part of it. So if I go to my Gary's mod directory, if I go to my materials folder, this folder right here is this one. If I go model materials, then search for models and Far Cry 3. And this is basically the location of the models. The models' texture. This part here isn't important, so I can get rid of that. Next, these here are the muzzle and the eject attachments. This is basically where your guns. I'll show you guys how to change this later in this tutorial. Don't change this. This will, if you change that, that might screw up the lighting on your model. I'm not quite sure what these do. This is a bounding box. I'm not quite sure what that does, and neither do I know what this one does. So this here will be your animations. So I have sequence idle. That's the idle animation, and the folder is the anims folder, if I'm not mistaken. Anims folder. So I gotta change that. And the first animation, which was the idle, here where it says act vn idle, that's the idle animation. And I'm going to leave this at 30 FPS. Shoot, I'm just going to rename to shoot. Shoot 1 I'm going to rename to shoot, because I only have one shooting animation. I can make multiple for the same act VM, but I'm not going to do that for this tutorial. Neither am I going to do shoot last or reload empty. So I'm just going to rename this anims and shoot. Now, here where it says event, these are basically the events that are called when you do something. For example, the event 5001, that event is the muzzle flash. This here sets the frame in which the muzzle flash will appear. Frame 0 is fine. And I'm not quite sure what this one does, to be honest. Event 6001, that's the ejection event. 0 is again the frame, and this changes the type of the bullet. 0 is 9mm, 1 I believe is rifle, and 2 is shotgun. I'm not sure, you might want to check that. Reload, so now I'm just going to put the reload anims. And now these events here, event 5004, that's the sounds. Your gun can make specific sounds at specific times. So I'm just going to go back to Blender and load up the model. And so there are two sounds usually, which is the magazine out and the magazine in. Some models might have the slide back and slide forward. You can always add those by copy pasting. So this is I'm just gonna name this weapon tutorial, and open tutorial.magout.magin. This here is the frame in which it appears. So mag comes out at frame 5. So I'm going to set this to 5. And magazine goes in at frame 33. Yes. So I'm just going to switch that. And your sounds should be pretty much good. Then draw. This is the animation that plays when you pull out the gun. And those are all the animations already ready. This here will make sure that the bones from your hands will attach with the rest of the model. That is important. This here, procedural bones, you will need this because of the fact that sometimes the wrists can be acting really weird. And you're going to require this, if that's the case, then you need to put this line. You need to include the C-arms VRD file. I put a link to that in the description, and I accidentally opened that. I'll put a link to that in the description, but for now I have those here in this folder, which I'm going to copy and go back here and paste. These need to be in the same location as your compile.qc. I can close Blender. And that's everything that you need basically to compile the model. You won't need anything else. So now I'm going to close this. I'm going to now you can use Crowbar, which is the most famous tool out there, because it can both compile and decompile models. I usually use studiocompile.mdl, but studiocompile.mdl GUI, but it all depends on your taste. So here is the Crowbar program, and this is a little more complex than I was expecting. But basically, QC file the custom model. You just go to, well, find the QC file of your model. So animating. Sorry, not animating. It's tutorial animation. I'm not sure what this is. Folder to put custom model files for viewing in model viewer. I'm not sure what this one does, but I guess it won't really matter because it's for the model viewer. Alright, now we can just press compile for game, and this should start compiling your model, and compile_logs should appear. There's an error. Aborted. Could not load. Shoot. That's odd. Let me edit this. We might have made a mistake. Ah, there we go. Underscore, of course. Let me recompile. Alright, now it seems to be compiling, but it's compiling for Half-Life 2. That's interesting. Let me go back here. I set this up for Gary's mod. Ah, it's going for the Half-Life 2 folder. Give me a second. I just need to set this to my Gary's mod folder instead. I'm sorry. This is why I usually use the GUI, because it's already set up and everything. I don't really use the Crowbar. Basically, to compile it for Gary's mod, you have to go to your Gary's mod directory and look for gameinfo.txt. And this is the model compiler, which is studiomdl.exe. You're also going to have to go to your Gary's mod folder. So when you go to Steam Apps, there we go. And Gary's mod in the bin folder should be around here, I think. That's in bin folder. Apparently Gary's mod doesn't seem to come with it, so it'll be fine if we use this one here from Gary's mod, from Half-Life 2. So you can close. Let's compile that again. Okay, now it's compiling for Gary's mod. As you can see, the directory is the Gary's mod directory. And just to check if the model is there, I'm going to leave that open because of our next part. We go to models, weapons, and C tutorial gun should be down here. Tutorial gun. As you can see, the gun is completely compiled. Okay, next we need to add textures. So for textures, you're going to need a program called VTF-edit. Basically, to create textures for the source engine, they need to be in the VTF and VMT format. I'm just going to get the texture for my Far Cry 3 1911, which is this one here, right here. And I'm going to go to VTF Edit. I'm going to load up this texture. Not sure if I can drag it, of course. Gotta go to Import. I need to go to this folder. Not this folder, sorry. Go here, copy. So go to this folder and select the gun texture. And it should hopefully load it up. And there we go. Next, export this. Yep, that's not what I meant. Sorry, save. And I'm gonna. This has to be exactly the same name as the model in that you compiled in the first place. And in my case, the model's texture is FC3191. So I'm gonna have to call this FC3191. Next, I gotta go to the QC, and I need to look at where the texture folder is, which is Models Far Cry 3. And if I go to that folder, I already have the texture compiled into VTF, which is this one right here. So I'm not going to be dragging this one, I might as well just delete it. Next, you need to create a new TXT file. So open a new TXT file, and this has to have the same name as your texture, because the game doesn't look for the texture, it actually looks for this file instead. So FC3191, and the extension has to be VMT. This is the thing that the game looks for. This has all the commands, such as add a bump map or edit this or that. Just copy pasting this code, but I'll provide you guys with the code that you can be using for simplification reasons. This is basically all the code you're going to need. This basically is the location of your texture. This has to have this here has to be the exact same name as your VTF file, and do not put the materials part of the model. So save that and put this in the same folder as your VTF file, as your texture. And when that's basically done, you can just go into your Gmod folder and go to bin and look for a program called Half-Life Model Viewer. You're gonna just get an exe. You're gonna have to create a batch file with this code, because sometimes HLMV.exe doesn't work correctly. So I'll put this again in the description. So just basically create a notepad file, change the extension to .bat, and put that code in there and put it in the same location as Half-Life Model Viewer, and then just run it. That console will appear for a split second, close, and the program should open. And go to File, Load Model, and go look for the model that you want to import. In our case, it's Tutorial Gun. And here is our gun. Now, we're going to fix the attachments. So this here is the muzzle, and we're going to want to change its position. So we edit the thing saying translation. This here is the X, this is the X, this is the Y, and this is the Z. For some reason, the gun doesn't seem to be very centered. It doesn't seem to be rotated properly, so the muzzle might not be facing the correct way. Gotta change... Nope, never mind, that's not it. But anyway, so just basically position this more or less how it should be. Let me find the good... There we go. Then this should... So this here would be... got changed to negative to a positive. So I'm going to set that to 4, 5, 6, 7, 10, no, 9, 8. There we go. That's perfect. And then change the height again. This will have to be 1.2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. No, 2.3, 5, 6, 7. There we go. And now we just need to get that position right, which should be around, 9. Oh, it's going the wrong way. So 0. Oh, 0 is perfect. So there is our muzzle. Then just copy this QC string here. Go to our original QC, which is here. And edit this. And here, where the attachment, you've got to change that. You do the same thing for the eject attachment. And so let me just do that really quickly. The position should be more or less the same as your other attachment. Let me just copy that code and paste it. And I just need to change how forward it goes. So about there should be fine. You just need to change the height. 1 also looks fine. And yeah, so then just copy and paste this code, paste it, and your model, now you're going to have to compile your model again because of the fact that you just changed a few things on the animation, on the thingies, you know, the how do you say, the attachments. So compile for the game. If it wants to compile for the game. Oh, I forgot to put the QC. So we go to tutorial animation, open the QC, compile for game, compiling for Gmod, and done. Now I'm gonna make a very quick swep just to show you guys more or less like what you basically do in order to get to see if it's working more or less in game. I'm just gonna, first of all, I'm just using the Mac 10 that I made with my other Swep base, with my Swep Creator for my last tutorial. The only thing I'm really gonna change is this path here. So set that to C. If I remember correctly, it was tutorial_gun. Something like that, so I can check the QC. QC says, nope, wrong QC, I'm sorry. QC was on Notepad. Tutorial gun, exactly. Next, there's finally one part of the code which is important. Let me just, where is it? Nope, I'm gonna have to, I'll also paste this code here, don't worry. Basically, what the code I'm copying is these sound adds. Basically, remember those sounds that we added to the QC of the model? Well, basically, we want those sounds to play, so I have these sound scripts that I made specifically for the gun I made those sound scripts on here. So basically here where it says event 504, it will play the mag out sound, which is this sound right here, and you're going to put the path. And the only thing that's different though is the name. So I just need to change this to tutorial and this to tutorial. Alright, that's basically everything. And I'll be right back. I'm starting up Gary's mod and I'll see you guys. Alright, welcome back. So let's load up the model and see if everything is working out as it should. So it should be in tutorial. Load up the model. And I got the wrong... Oops! I made this mistake. That's not the correct... here it is. I forgot to put .mdl at the back of the view model. Right. Let me just respawn. Load up Mac 10. And there we go. As you can see, the hands are missing. Don't worry, this is normal. The reason is because you need to add a specific line of code to your swep. In that case, that line is the swep.useHands. Swep.useHands. If you used my Swep Creator to create this swep, there's a check mark called use C model hands, which you can use for the tutorial. I'm just gonna quickly put it into the code just to be sure that everything is working as it should. So use hands is equal to true. Whoops, I capitalized that. True. Save. And alright, there we go. Alright, that's kind of working. Now, the ViewModel FOV needs to be changed to 60. Perhaps that will work. There we go. Let me just remove one thing, which is reload sound. I gotta remove that completely from the code. Alright. You can kind of hear it, not too much because the volume isn't very high, because I set it to not be very high. It's on 0.1, so let me just respawn. Alright, that's working pretty good. So yeah, that concludes everything that you guys need to know for making a swep for basically Gary's mod. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments section, and I will try my best with my knowledge to help you guys. Alright, see ya.